Hi, welcome to Team Woolly Sheep Reviews, and I'm getting groovy. Groovy 50. I'm working on the Groovy 50 and it's coming along really good. Really pleased. What I need the motor is leaning slightly forward, so it's pointing slightly down and slightly to the right. That seems to be the norm for like a thrust angle. It's never just straight through the center. Don't know what this should be, but I got to give it a try. When you're accelerating, or when you put the throttle on, instead of the propeller pulling the nose up, it's supposed to pull it down and slightly to the right. That allows for the torque of the motor and the lift of the wings, so it should fly as you accelerate, fly in a straight line. Well, that's the theory anyway, so, but you've got to try it. And if you find that every time you throttle, the plane goes up, then you adjust the thrust angle so that it compensates by pulling the nose down a little bit. That's what it's all about. I'm just going to finish tightening it up, then I'll show you what I've done so far. You can see it slightly down, slightly to the right. And you can see the type of bracket. So that's the distance I wanted to get, is the distance from the firewall to where the spin is going to go. So I've got a 60 amp speed controller, but important thing is the speed controller's got a 5 amp power supply. I'm not going to use the 5 amp power supply. You can see the red wire has been removed and been tied back, and I've also pulled an extra connection off the battery connection. So, and I've got this lead here. I've got an 8 amp BEC, and this 8 amp BEC will power, well, what I'll do, I'll solder on a servo lead there, and this will power the receiver, which will in turn power all the servos. The problem you can have with the older servos, first of all, they work better, or they got a little bit more power, or a little bit more torque on 6 volts. So this is set to 6 volts. And secondly, you know, people tend to be throwing a plane around and all of a sudden lose control, and what happens is the power gets to a certain threshold where the receiver cuts off and reboots itself, and of course while you're waiting for it to reconnect, you've got no control. Bad move. 6 volts, they're the old servos, they're big servos, they're the standard size servos, so they take a bit of power. So I've gone with the 8 amp, which has got a 12 amp boost in there, so the maximum it can deliver is 12. That should be enough for those servos. My intention is, once it's all set up and all ready to go, is I then do the center of gravity. And what I'm going to do with the center of gravity, I'm going to set it over with a 4S 3300 battery. I don't want to be adding weight to the tail, and I don't want to be adding loads of nose weight either. So this is going to be my balance weight. So I'm going to position the battery in the right place to give me the best center of gravity. So I'm getting kind of, I don't know whether you noticed, I've got a different tripod this time. I normally using a camera tripod, but this is a tripod I bought for the bike. Really handy. Back to work. The wings are on. 2 little locking screws. Bit of a fiddly time with that. This is a 6-channel Archer. It's an access receiver for FR Sky. It's quite small, compact, 6-channel. Get in there, no rush, little bit every night, getting it right, making sure it's absolutely perfect. And so far, so good. So I'm going to call it a night tonight. Go and get some food, and then tomorrow back in the shed for another session. And the receiver's all in, the wings are on, and it's all set up. So what I need to do is take a battery and get a battery in there and see what the center of gravity is like. Still massively tail heavy, so I guess the weight of the electric motor is nowhere near the weight of an engine and a fuel tank. this battery needs to come way forward. So time to get creative. Right, so after a little bit of cursing, I come up with this idea. Because I had this big space underneath the cowl, then I made this, it's like a little coffin, and I've cut a hole there so the battery can simply slot in, push, and it will stay in there. I just got to make a bit of a locking mechanism, but this is pushing the battery is far forward. Bear in mind this was about there, so it's literally the battery is coming to this part of the cowl. I found some carbon fibre undercarriage, so it makes a nice little touch. So I think that's the answer. So as you can see, the battery slots in. It's out of the way. There's the 6 amp back on my receiver. I don't know whether you can actually see, but I put some antenna tubes there, so one antenna tube is going that way and the other antenna tube is going down, so it will actually give me a bit of diversity. That's the best thing about this hobby, is having this bit of creativity to be able to overcome a problem. I suppose it's like a lesson in life. And this is what makes this part of the hobby so interesting. It gives you a bit of satisfaction to be able to overcome a problem, build it, and for it to hopefully fly nice. These are the things that make this hobby rewarding. Flipping gremlins pinching my screwdrivers. Another tip is, before you assemble it all, to check the rotation of the motor, because it's easier to do it with the cowls off. I've already done that because I thought about it. And of course, before you put the prop on, balance it. Not a bad prop, not bad. Sometimes just scraping a little bit of the moulding off where it's been over moulded is all it needs. The props are manufactured quite well these days, especially the bigger props. It's always worth checking them. Right, all set up. Not bad, not bad. Whenever I set up a model and it's not, you know, it's my own prop and motor combo, I get a watt meter, put it in circuit and test it to see what sort of power is going through it. I'll point it at my chair. Well, that cleared the dust off my desk. 54.9 amps. Full throttle, full beans, almost 55 amps. That was over 700 watts of power. There's a 60 amp speed control in there. I don't plan to be going full throttle, but I think there's more than enough power and it's within the tolerance. I would have liked it to have been 50 amps. That's a 14x6 prop. I might have gone 14x5. That would have got me in the tolerance. So next time I'm buying props, I might look at 14x5. But for now, this is where it's going to stay. So what I always do with my radio is I use this switch as my rate. So I got 3 positions and all my models are set up the same. It's quite a lot of throw, but if I reduce it, that's middle, that's low. And I got about 30% expo. On the tail, I use this switch for the tail, for the rudder and elevator. So that's high rudder, that's low rudder. And the same with the elevator.
Elevator medium, elevator high.
That's high, medium, low. That, apart from putting the canopy and finishing it off, that's ready to fly. Right, the canopy's going on, but what I'm using is little screws, like silver screws, and I put little O-rings on there, rubber O-rings. Alright, there's a bit of flexibility and it's not going to end up the plastic deteriorating and cracking. So it's always handy to put these just little O-rings and just tighten up the screws so they just start to tight and squish the O-ring. And at the moment there's no pilot in there. That was the pilot. He's goddamn ugly. He's a chubby little fella. I kind of like him. So maybe I'm going to do the cockpit, and I'll do a nice little cockpit. I'll print a cockpit to go in there. I'll make that black, and I'll stick him in there. So, but would you put that in there? So this is ready for his test flight. So all I need to do now is have a look at how I can keep the battery from moving, and it's game on. I hope I've done the Formula owner proud. So thank you again for watching Team Woolly Sheep Reviews, and tune in, subscribe, you know what to do. If you like what I do, press the button. Thank you, take care, bye.